I really feel like loving yourself and being kind to yourself, it's like super underrated in today's day and age. I feel like we kind of live in this world where it's like, you gotta be like super like hardcore, you gotta be hustling all the time, you gotta be grinding, the hustle culture, the toxic productivity. Like, I'd rather work 24/7 instead of working a 9 to 5, shit like that, where it's just like work, 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 like you're being programmed by capitalism and shit. I'm not necessarily here to talk about that right now, but it reminded me of the need to be loving to yourself. Just be kind, be gentle with yourself. Because when you're in that mentality, you're not being kind. You're being very harsh. You're being very critical. You're just continuing to judge yourself and almost like put yourself down. You're just sitting here like thinking about how much more you could do. Think about how you're not good enough right now. It's like, oh, I only worked like 8 hours. I only got on like 10 calls today. I could have gotten on 12. I could have worked 10 hours. Like, you're like competing with other people. Like, oh, he has like the Lamborghini. I only have a BMW. Like, these kind of random examples I'm throwing out. But the idea is that you're throwing yourself like into another rat race. You're just kind of beating your head against the wall to accomplish some goal that I don't even know if that goal is like my own, or is it just some goal that someone else said I should achieve? Let me kind of tie this together. So the story I wanted to share is that I've been cutting. I talked about that in a previous video. I've been cutting and I've been not losing fat as fast as I wanted to, but it's still been consistent, right? I've just been consistently, steadily on the grind, on the path, right, of fat loss and like just getting healthier, getting stronger in the gym. I've been building muscle and I've been losing fat, which is ultimately my goal. It just hasn't been as fast as I would have liked. I even say that and it's like, that's not true. The speed that I'm achieving this goal is actually like quite normal. It takes time for your body to adjust. It takes time for your mind to adjust to like not just lower weight, but like just new habits, new lifestyle habits, right? New changes of like the way you eat, the way you sleep, how often you're exercising. Like, it takes time for you to adjust mentally, especially. The issue is that I was getting so outcome dependent. I wasn't focused on the process, on the day to day, on the week to week, and seeing how I was steadily improving, right? My waist measurements steadily been coming down. My weight on the scale steadily been coming down. Every time I'm in the gym, I'm getting a little stronger, adding either more reps or more weight, like every single time. Even though I'm not going too often, right? I'm not lifting super often, maybe like once or twice a week, but it's like very high intensity. And I'm just continuing to get results. But because I'm not like all the way at the end already, I'm like beating myself up. I'm getting angry. I'm like, why isn't this working? Like, why is this taking so long? But it's only taking a long time relative to like where my perspective is, right? My thoughts, my focus is on like this end goal, right? The final destination. But like the way to get there to that end goal is to do all these little day-to-day things, all these little steps, right? So because I was focused on all those things, I started, doing more, right? More is better is kind of the thought process. Let me drop my calories lower. Let me do more cardio. Let me like just keep pushing harder and harder, and then I have to get results eventually, right? Just get it done faster, right? Even though I'm gonna be like way more tired. My hormone levels are probably more messed up because when you drop calories really low, that's what naturally happens. I have lower energy. I don't feel as good throughout the day, even though I'm like still getting stronger and I'm still losing weight. You just don't feel healthy. You don't feel like good. You feel like you're just about to pass out half the time. And the ironic thing is like the harder I tried, the more I pushed, the less it actually seemed to work. It's like the tortoise in the hare. The tortoise just goes slow and steady and it just keeps moving. It's slow, but it just keeps going. It's consistent, right? Whereas the hare goes hella fast in the beginning and then it crashes and burns. Then I have to go and like take a nap or something. And then while the hare is just like napping, just like sitting there, the tortoise like slowly just overtakes him because he never had to stop. He paced himself. And so he was able to just keep going. So we get caught up in this like illusion of like time, of like, oh, I only have a certain amount of time to get these goals done, or I have to get it done in this amount of time. When the reality is like, we can't really control the time that this is going to happen, especially for something like weight loss. Our body's just going to do what it's going to do. All we can do is be as consistent as possible, right? The more consistent we are, the faster we're going to get results. That's like one of the key takeaways from this weight loss journey, from this cutting journey so far, is that the times when I have been inconsistent, those are always the times when I'm like questioning, and I'm like questioning if what I'm doing is working, and I'm getting frustrated, and I'm getting agitated, I'm getting annoyed at like my routine, and why, like thinking to myself, why is this taking so long? Like, why is this so difficult? Why is losing weight so hard? But then the times when I'm more dialed in on my nutrition especially, but also I'm like getting my steps in, I'm going to sleep well, those days it's easy. You know, the fat's just like falling off my body. Those are the days where it just feels like effortless. It just feels like I'm losing hella weight hella fast. And it's funny because by actually trying harder and doing more, right? Doing more cardio, eating less, like by trying really hard, I actually started getting more inconsistent, thus getting slower results than when I just kind of eased up and I had like a smaller deficit. And, you know, maybe I wasn't doing as much cardio, but it was more easily sustainable, right? Because that consistency is what gets you results, right? Consistent action over time will get you results. Not perfect action, not going really hard or whatever, just consistent action over time. Whether that's, you know, you're 60% of the time you're consistent, 70%, 80, 90, like whatever it is, as long as you keep showing up, even if it's not perfect, even if one day you went like way over your calories, despite the rest of the week you being good, or you missed a few days of cardio, or you missed a few days of like lifting or whatever, you just get right back on track, right? Your sleep hasn't been good the past few days. You just stay consistent. You just keep adjusting and getting right back on track. It's like when you're meditating and you might get distracted by thoughts or whatever. It's like you just gently kind of pull yourself back to the present moment, right? To your breath or whatever else is that you were focusing on. You just gently pull yourself back, and then there you are again. There's no extra thing that you need to do. You don't need to make all these big sweeping changes. Like, you're fine doing what you're doing. You just got to keep doing it. Sometimes we get distracted, and that's okay. The point is, you should not be so attached to the outcome, because when you're so attached to the outcome, you're going to start to create a very unhealthy, unsustainable environment. Whether that is for, you know, fitness or any other goal as well, you're going to create an unhealthy environment, both physically and mentally, to where you can't sustain what you're doing. You're creating like an all or nothing mentality. You have to be all in, or you're just not going to do anything. And then you're never really going to get results, because you can only be all in for so long, right? Like, studies literally show that willpower is a finite resource, right? Mental willpower is a finite resource, which literally peaks like in the morning and slowly goes down throughout the day as we're like making decisions and like doing things. So you can't rely on that too much. Just focus on all the progress that you have made already, and that you're continuing to make day in, day out, week in, week out, right? Be proud of yourself, love yourself, show yourself kindness.